One day, when my kids are old enough to understand the weight of sacrifice and the price of freedom, I'll sit them down, maybe by the sea, the same sea he once dreamed of seeing, and I'll tell them the story of a boy who hated the walls, not just the ones around him, but the ones inside us all. His name was Aaron Yeager. He was born in a city called Shiganshina, a place surrounded by massive stone walls so tall the people inside forgot what the world really looked like. To most, those walls were safety, but to Aaron, they were a cage. He was different from the beginning, restless, intense, and stubborn. Even as a child, he looked at the birds in the sky and felt envy. They could fly. They could leave. He couldn't. Then one day, everything changed. A colossal figure, taller than the walls themselves, appeared out of nowhere. The colossal titan. In one devastating moment, he kicked a hole through the very wall meant to protect them. And just like that, the monsters returned. Titans, giant, mindless creatures that devour humans, stormed the city. Chaos broke out. People screamed. Soldiers died. And Aaron watched his mother get crushed and eaten in front of his eyes. He couldn't save her. He was too weak. And that moment, that one unbearable moment, became the spark that changed everything. He didn't cry. He didn't break. He swore revenge. I'll kill them all, every last one of them. That was the promise he made to himself, and he never broke it. After that day, he joined the military, not to serve, but to fight, to learn how to kill titans, to make sure no one else ever had to watch someone they loved die helplessly. He trained with two people who would stay by his side for most of his life. Mikasa, his adopted sister, stronger than any soldier, colder than ice in battle, but warm only around him. And Armin, his best friend, small, quiet, and weak at first glance, but with a mind sharper than any blade. Together, they entered the 104th Cadet Corps, the place where dreams either became reality or were crushed. Aaron wasn't the best. He wasn't the smartest or the fastest, but he was driven, more than anyone. He didn't just want to fight titans. He wanted to erase them from existence. But life had its own plans. On their very first mission outside the walls, the titans attacked. Aaron fought bravely, and then he died, or at least everyone thought he did. In a shocking twist, he returned, not as a human, but as a titan who could fight other titans. For the first time in 100 years, humanity had a weapon, a hope against extinction. But hope came with fear. Was Aaron still human? Or had he become the very thing he hated? As the military argued about whether to trust him or kill him, one man stood up. A man who saw more than just muscle and rage. Commander Erwin Smith. A leader who understood that if humanity wanted to move forward, they had to take risks. He convinced the higher-ups to let Aaron live and fight. From there, everything changed. The missions became deadlier, the truths became uglier, and the monsters weren't just outside the walls anymore. That's when they met her, the female titan. A titan with intelligence, strategy, awareness. She wasn't just a mindless beast. She was one of them. A soldier, a friend, Annie Leonhardt. She had been hiding in plain sight, trained alongside Aaron, Mikasa, and Armin. The betrayal shattered them. Armin's suspicion helped uncover the truth. Mikasa's strength helped corner her. Aaron's rage helped defeat her. But even in defeat, Annie sealed herself in crystal, silent, unreachable. And the question lingered. If she was a titan, how many more were there? This wasn't just a fight for survival anymore. It was a mystery, a conspiracy, A war with no clear enemy. Eren had gained two things: a power that made him humanity's strongest weapon, and a target on his back so big no one could look away. But the boy who hated the walls was only just getting started. As time passed, things got worse. Missions failed. Soldiers died. But one truth kept growing louder. The Titans were once human. No one wanted to believe it. But the signs were everywhere. Annie had proven it. And deep down, Eren's own power hinted at something terrifying. What if the enemy wasn't out there? What if it was us? Then came the day that shattered everything. Eren, Mikasa, Armin, they were on a mission. Just another day outside the walls. But when the fight ended and the dust settled, two friends, two brothers in arms, walked up to Eren and whispered the unthinkable. "I'm the armored Titan. And he's the Colossal." Reiner, Bertolt, two of their own, soldiers, comrades, betrayers. The same Titans who destroyed Wall Maria, the same ones who killed Eren's mother, were right beside him the whole time. And just like that, they turned. One became a walking tank. The other erupted into steam and fire. The battlefield was no longer humans versus monsters. It was humans who were monsters versus the friends they once trusted. The chaos was unbearable, but something had changed in Eren. He didn't break down. He didn't freeze. He fought, not just for revenge anymore, but to protect the people behind him. And for the first time, he unlocked something else, a new power buried deep inside him. A scream that could control other Titans. No one understood it, not even him. But it made one thing clear. Eren Yeager was not just a soldier. He was something more. In the shadows, another enemy watched. Zeke Yeager, the Beast Titan, a monster with the mind of a general and the blood of a brother. Eren didn't know it yet, but Zeke wasn't just the next threat. He was family. Back inside the walls, doubt began to spread. What were Titans? Where did they come from? Why could some humans transform? The answers were buried deep in a basement, Eren's father's basement. That one place, locked away for years, held every truth humanity had forgotten. To get there, they had to do the impossible. Retake Shiganshina, the city where it all began. But this wouldn't be a mission. It would be a massacre. Because waiting for them were Reiner, Bertolt, and the Beast. The battle for Shiganshina was brutal. Commander Erwin Smith led the scouts on what would become his final charge. He knew it was suicide. He knew they wouldn't come back. But he also knew, if one person reaches the Beast, humanity still has hope. So he screamed. And they followed. The charge of death, led by a man who had given his entire life to finding the truth. Erwin didn't die afraid. He died with eyes wide open, facing the truth head on. On the other side of the battlefield, something else was happening. Armin, small, quiet, never the strongest, faced off against the colossal Titan. He didn't run. He didn't beg. He burned. He let himself roast alive, just long enough for Eren to land the final blow. That day, two heroes fell, Erwin Smith and Armin Arlert. But only one could be saved. Levi, holding the Titan injection in his hand, had to decide. The heart of humanity, or the future of it? Erwin, the leader who never gave up. Armin, the dreamer who saw the sea when no one else believed in it. Levi chose the dreamer. Armin opened his eyes again, reborn as a Titan, and he became the one to inherit the colossal power. The guilt of that decision would haunt all of them forever. When they finally reached the basement, they found more than just books and notes. They found the truth. The walls weren't humanity's last hope. They were their prison. And outside wasn't freedom. It was more war, more hatred, more people just like them. The Titans, they weren't monsters. They were Eldians, the same race as Eren. And the ones controlling the Titans? Marley, a nation across the sea, a world that taught its people to hate Eldians, to fear them, to use them. Eren stood by the ocean, waves crashing at his feet, with Armin and Mikasa by his side. And for the first time, they saw it. The sea. The thing they dreamed of. But Eren didn't smile. He didn't laugh. He looked past the waves and said, "If we kill all our enemies over there, will we finally be free?" That's when I'll pause the story. I'll look my kids in the eyes, and I'll say, that was the last day Eren Yeager was ever truly human. After that day by the sea, the story changed. It wasn't about walls anymore, or Titans, or saving humanity. It was about the world, and a boy who realized the world didn't want to be saved. Across the ocean was Marley, a powerful empire that saw Eldians as devils. They forced them into ghettos, used them as weapons, turned them into Titans, and threw them at their enemies. It was there that we met Gabi, Falco, Porco, Piek, and Zeke again. Warriors trained from birth to kill for Marley. They had been taught just one thing: Paradise Island is evil. Eren Yeager is a monster. The people behind the walls must die. But something changed when the monster came to them. Eren didn't wait for a war. He brought it. One day, during a peaceful festival in the city of Liberio, Eren sat face to face with Reiner, the friend who betrayed him. But there was no rage in his eyes anymore, only emptiness. "We're the same," he told him. "I keep moving forward until all my enemies are destroyed." Then, he transformed. The attack titan exploded into the middle of Liberio. Buildings collapsed, civilians died, warriors were crushed, and Eren didn't stop, because something inside him had already broken, and all that was left was the mission. The world called it terrorism. Marley called it war, but Eren called it justice. And back on Paradise, his friends didn't know who he'd become. Was he protecting them, or dragging them into his revenge? Even Mikasa and Armin couldn't recognize him anymore. Eren wasn't asking for approval. He was preparing for the end. But even now, not everything was black and white. Gabi, the girl who hated Eren the most, killed Sasha, one of the Scouts' own. It should have been unforgivable. But the truth was, she was just a kid, raised in hate, taught to kill. And Falco, the boy beside her, wanted peace more than anything. That's what made it all so tragic. Everyone was a pawn in a story written long before they were born. Then came the biggest reveal of all. Zeke Yeager, Eren's half-brother, had a plan. He wanted to end the Eldian bloodline, not with war, but with extinction. A peaceful genocide. He called it the Euthanasia Plan. No more Titans, no more suffering, no more Eldians. Forever. But Eren? He smiled, nodded, and lied, because his plan was far worse. Eren had discovered the final power of the Titans, the founding Titan. It could rewrite memories, change bodies, command all Titans, past and present. But only a royal could use it. Unless they made contact with another royal, like Zeke. And once they did, Eren unleashed it. He didn't choose peace. He didn't choose extinction. He chose the rumbling. When Zeke and Eren made contact, the world stopped for a moment. Inside a strange realm called the Paths, time had no meaning. There, they met Ymir Fritz, the first Titan, the cursed girl who started it all, the one who served in silence for 2,000 years. Zeke begged her to follow his plan, to end it all. But she didn't listen to him. She listened to Aaron. Because Aaron didn't ask for obedience. He didn't see her as a tool. He saw her pain. "You're not a slave," he said. "You can choose." And for the first time in 2 millennia, Ymir chose to let go. That's when the world changed. That's when the walls fell. That's when the rumbling began. Colossal titans, hundreds of them, marching from Paradise Island across the entire world. Each step crushed cities, mountains, nations. It wasn't war anymore. It was extinction. Aaron had become something else. Not a soldier, not a savior, a force of nature. He reached out to his people, the Eldians, with one final message. "I will destroy every land beyond these shores, until only we remain." He didn't do it out of hatred. He didn't do it for peace. He did it so his people would never live in fear again. He became the devil, so no one else had to. The world panicked, but in that darkness, a new alliance was born. Former enemies, Eldians and Marlians, joined hands to stop the one man who had united them in terror. Mikasa, Armin, John, Connie, Levi, Reiner, Annie, Peek, Balco, Gabi. They didn't agree on much, but they all agreed on one thing. Eren Yeager had to be stopped. Before they left, one life had to be given for them to even get off the island. Hanja Zoe. She smiled as she walked into the flames, facing down the colossal titans one last time. She knew it was hopeless. She did it anyway, because someone had to buy them time, because someone had to believe humanity was worth saving. Hanjay died as humanity's last scout, and the skies burned behind her. Up in the air, the Alliance chased after Eren's monstrous founding titan form. It wasn't just Eren's body anymore. It was a horrifying skeletal god crawling across the continent. But even now, Mikasa hesitated. Even now, Armin still believed they could bring him back. But the truth? Eren never planned to be saved. In a final confrontation, Armin unleashed his colossal titan form. Levi struck down Zeke, Balco took flight, and Mikasa did what no one else could. She cut through the spine of the monster, entered the glowing head. And there, she found Eren. Calm, quiet, alone. She kissed him and ended it. The rumbling stopped. But the damage? It was too late. 80% of the world was gone. After Mikasa ended it, everything went still. The rumbling stopped. The titans collapsed. The earth finally had silence again. But peace wasn't immediate, because no one knew what came next. Eren was dead, but his actions had destroyed 80% of the world. Entire nations were gone. Billions of lives erased. To the outside world, Eren was a monster. But to the people of Paradise Island, he was a hero. A boy who gave them a future by carrying the burden of being their greatest sin. Mikasa buried Eren beneath the tree he once loved as a child. The same tree where their story began. She sat beside it, year after year, until time moved on without her. Armin became humanity's diplomat. He told the world the truth, tried to rebuild what had been broken, carried the guilt of surviving when Erwin hadn't. Levi, broken, scarred, but alive, never returned to battle. He finally rested. Jion, Connie, Reiner, Piek, they all lived, but they were never the same again. And then, the Titans vanished. The curse of Ymir was broken. For the first time in 2,000 years, no child would inherit Titan powers. No one would count down 13 years until death. They were free. But the world never forgets monsters. Years later, tensions rose again. Fear returned. Armies formed. Lines were drawn. And once again, War threatened to return, because freedom always has a price. But Mikasa never stopped visiting the tree. The scarf Eren gave her stayed wrapped around her neck long after everyone else had let go. And one day, a bird flew down. It adjusted the scarf gently like a boy once did, and disappeared into the sky. When I tell my kids this story, I won't tell them who the hero was, or who the villain was. Because in war, there are no clean answers. Just choices, sacrifices, and consequences. Eren Yeager was not perfect. He was not kind. But he was a boy who kept moving forward, because the world gave him no other choice. And when my children ask me what I think of him, this boy who destroyed the world to save his own, I'll say this: he was just a kid, born in a cage, who wanted to be free. And that's the story I'll tell my children, not of a hero or a villain, but of a boy who dared to dream beyond the walls. If this story moved you, subscribe to the channel. More anime stories like this are coming, and I'd love to have you here for them.